I'll call the regular meeting of the Huron City Commission to order. It is Monday, June 8th, 2020, and 5:30 p.m. Could we have a roll call, please?
Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Food is absent. Harrington.
Here.
Robish.
Present.
Mayor Albert.
Here. Let's stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move to item 2 on our agenda this evening is canvass of an election. And 2.2, the canvass for the 2020 election. And Finance Director Carey, do you have a canvass for us?
I do. These are the results of the election of June 2nd. Precinct 1, Drew Weinreis, 155. Rich Bragg, 157. Precinct 2, Drew Weinreis, 120. Rich Bragg, 112. Precinct 3, Drew Weinreis, 101. Rich Bragg, 100. Precinct 7-1, Drew Weinreis, 119, Rich Bragg, 123. Precinct 8-1, Drew Weinreis, 80, Rich Bragg, 153. Precinct 8-2, Drew Weinreis, 79, Rich Bragg, 118. Total tally for Drew Weinreis is 755 votes, Rich Bragg, 929. Total votes was 1,684.
Okay, thank you. We need to vote to accept the canvass. First of all, I want to congratulate both of the candidates, and it was a win-win for the city. I don't think we could have lost no matter who won this race. So thank you for your involvement. Now I need a motion to accept the canvass of the election.
Motion to accept the canvass.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor will say aye, opposed nay, and we'll call the roll.
Smith.
Aye.
Harrington.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Albert.
Aye. The canvass is accepted, and we will now move to swearing in of the officers, item number 3. And first of all, we're going to swear in the mayor, Gary Harrington. He did not have a heat challenge this year, so he will be the mayor. Just before we swear him in, I got a couple of words I want to say. You didn't think you were going to get up here that easy, did you?
I can't get rid of you.
I fielded some phone calls today, and lo and behold, I had a complaint, and I have to turn it over to you. That's the bad news. The good news is the person was complaining about some streets, and the better news is he didn't leave his name or his phone number. So you got an easy one to start with. The second thing is I also had another call, and they wanted the mayor to come and speak to their Lions Club. And I said, I'm sorry, ma'am, but I can't do that because I won't be mayor after tonight. And she said, well, who's the new mayor? And I told her, and she says, oh, really? Okay, I'll have him. She said, so he's got a job, a couple of jobs already. So I want to congratulate Gary. He's been a good partner. We ran the first time together, and it's been a good run, and he'll do a great job for here. So let's swear him in, or swear at him, or whatever we have to do.
It says, I, Gary Harrington, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of mayor in and for the city of Huron, Beetle County, South Dakota, according to the best of my abilities, and that I am not under direct or indirect obligation to appoint or elect any person to any office, position, or employment under the government of the city of Huron.
I will.
Congratulations.
Okay, do we need a vote to make it official? Okay, do I have a motion to seat Gary Harrington as the mayor of Huron.
Move to approve seating Gary Harrington as the mayor of Huron.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor will say aye, opposed nay, and we'll call the roll.
Smith,
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Albert.
Aye. Okay, well, congratulations, Gary. One more item I get to do.
Yep.
We're swearing in of the city commissioner, Rich Bragg. Rich?
You don't want to give a speech about me.
Nah. You get by free.
I, Rich Bragg, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner in and for the City of Huron, Beetle County, South Dakota, according to the best of my abilities, and that I am not under direct or indirect obligation to appoint or elect any person to any office, position, or employment under the government of the City of Huron.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I'm leaving.
I'm gonna move you up here.
That's his. Yeah, I got mine.
Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
Rich, congratulations.
Hang around for a minute.
You bet.
I'll hang around for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. I hear you. Get all this set up.
Does that require a vote to?
Yeah.
I had to get my folder from him, I'm sorry, I left it up there.
Okay. So it's time and place now to have a vote to seat Rich Bragg as our new commissioner. We have a roll call,
We
please.
need a motion.
I would move
Make
to
a motion.
approve the seating of Rich Bragg as city commissioner.
Okay.
Second.
Second. Roll call, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Harrington,
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
All right. Rich Bragg, you're now the new commissioner.
Thank you.
Glad to have you aboard, by the way.
I'm looking forward to it.
I don't have a lot of things I want to tell you, but there's one thing I want to tell you. Is that ledge over there, make sure you don't fall off the ledge. 7 years I did not fall off the ledge. Many people watched me, or hoping I would, but I didn't fall off the ledge, so be careful with that. Before I really get started, though, I'd like to say something about Paul. We did come in the office 7 years ago together, and it's been quite a ride. It's been fun. He's pointing me in directions different times that probably I needed to be pointed. And we worked well together. Our whole commission worked well together, and I think part of that was the fact that it was Paul. Paul, with his leadership, kind of kept us together and made us stay on focus. One of the things that I will try to emulate with Paul was his work ethic. He has outstanding work ethic. He was here a lot, more so than any other mayor we've probably ever had. I'm going to try to do the same. And I guess, being a friend, we've gone through battles up and down the road, whether it be umpiring or across the state together or this. I think this is more challenging than umpiring. Umpiring was more fun, but this is more challenging. And that's what I'm looking for as being a mayor, is a challenge. And like I say, I'm going to try to emulate Paul. And I guess the last thing we've got to do for Paul that I have in my right to do it is that I think that it's time that we take the police ankle brace off and let him go. With that, sir, it'd be good.
Like I told you where I was going, right?
No, I'm going to shut that window.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
let's get to work here. Start right out with public forum. Public comments may be sent during the live meeting broadcast to our city's YouTube channel. And Janet's back there, she's manning the channel tonight. The link is listed on our city's website at www.hursd.com/citygovernment. In order to use the YouTube chat feature, please create an account with YouTube and Gmail or use your existing accounts. Please state your name, address for the record, and periodically through the meeting, I will look up, and if Janet's giving me a thumbs up sign, we'll have somebody, if she has somebody that wants to leave a comment, then we'll have her read the comment so it's on while our meeting's going on. Maybe we'll have an opportunity, if we can, to answer any comments or questions they may have. So that's how that works. It works out well. I do have, in addition to the agenda tonight, and I'd like to add it at 9.1.
We will do that after the public forum.
Yeah, is there anybody here for public forum, I guess? Lynn Schneider.
Thank you, Mayor. I didn't come here with the idea that I was going to say something. I actually came here to witness this transfer of power in our city leadership, which I've never ever witnessed before. So I just want to express my appreciation for how well city government's been functioning, and that this looks like a tribute to the past mayor and all your commissioners' service to work well together so that the city didn't see the need to put up a whole host of candidates to run for these offices. So I think the interpretation there is that there's a great level of satisfaction with the work our city commission and leadership is doing rather than the other of no interest. So thank you all.
Thanks, Lynn.
Lynn
Appreciate
Schneider.
that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll do change in agenda approval. I'm going to add an agenda item. It'll be 9.1, and it's a parade request. So with that, need a motion for that.
Motion to approve the agenda with the addition of the parade request.
Second?
Second.
Okay, second by Rovich, Commissioner Rovich. That was approved. We'll move on. Consent agenda.
Nope, we gotta vote on it.
Oh, that's right, we vote on everything,
Roll call
don't we?
votes, yep.
Roll call vote, sorry about that. Okay. Roll call, please.
Okay, Smith,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Robish,
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Okay. Okay, we're going to consider the approval of the agenda.
Consent agenda.
Consent agenda, yeah, consent agenda. Matters appearing on the consent agenda are expected to be non-controversial and will be acted upon by the commission at one time without discussion unless a member of the commission requests an opportunity to address any given items removed from the consent agenda will be discussed at the beginning of the formal items. Is there any, okay. 7.1, regular meetings June 1st of 2020. 7.2, date rescheduled to October 8, 2020 for the special event on sale alcoholic beverage license filed by Hangar Restaurant for the Pheasants Forever event at Campus Center, Blackburn Hall. 7.3, personnel items. Transfer of Sarah Rogers from parole sergeant to detective sergeant. Number 2, post for an open for a patrol sergeant position. Number 3, acknowledge the passing of Joe Daniel and advertising for a 9/11 dispatcher. I'll stop there for just a second, talk a little bit about our dispatcher, Joe Daniels, who passed this week. He worked for us for 10 years approximately. Was a good employee, was fun to be around, left us way too soon. And we're going to miss him, and I'm sure that the commission will join me in wishing his family has our condolences for Joe's passing. So with that, if anybody else in the commission would like to say anything about Joe, Yeah, Commissioner Warren?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, until this whole COVID thing started, we had the opportunity to stop in at dispatch every once in a while. And I tried to do that each and every Monday night after a meeting, just to sit and visit. And, okay, that sounds bad, but they did sit and visit unless they were busy. And Joe was always upbeat, always upbeat. Didn't matter what was going on. You know, Joe had a lot of health problems for a while. And unless you knew it, you wouldn't know it. So Joe was a fun guy to be around, and we're truly, truly gonna miss him in the dispatch. So I know they will pick up and they will not miss a beat, but it's tough for them to go on going through this, but I know they will.
Thank you, Commissioner Robish. Anyone else? Okay, moving on, we'll go to number 4, wage and title changes for part-time summer employees to park and maintenance due to not opening Splash Central. Number 5, promotion of Dave Lemke to water sewer treatment foreman. Number 6, post and advertise for pre-treatment coordinator's position. I need a motion to, for the consent agenda,
Including the payment of the bills.
including the
On the
payments of
second
bill on
page.
the second page, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah, and payment of bills also, yeah. So I need a motion for that.
Move to approve consent along with payment of bills.
Second.
And second by Rich Bragg, our new commissioner. Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Robish,
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Okay, that's passed, okay. Moving on. Now we go to 9.1, parade permit for Tuesday night. And the applicant's name is Sophia Neva. She is asking for a parade permit on June 9th. Time and duration is 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, beginning and ending on 6th Street Southwest. It is my understanding the parade will be in cars, and they will be parading around different areas of the streets and with signs on it, and it's going to be in regards to the protests that have been going on throughout the United States. So be aware that that's what they're doing. They're not going to get out of their cars or anything like that. It's just going to be in their cars. So need a motion for that. And by the way, the police department has no problem with this at all, and I think they're going to be working with them a little bit also.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Robish,
Second.
second by Commissioner Smith. Roll call vote, please.
I got-
Smith,
I have
Oh,
one
I'm
question.
sorry.
That's all right. And I don't know if Sarah knows this or not, but is that gonna be an escort?
We haven't been told.
Yeah.
I believe the chief has tried to contact
Yeah.
Sophia, but hasn't had any luck yet, so we don't know if we're needed or not.
Okay.
And since they're driving in cars, they're not asking for any roads to be closed or anything, they
No.
just want.
No, not at all.
I guess a little more discussion on this before that. I know this is going on tomorrow night, but I guess I would like to have either an escort front and back, or how do you know who's in what, and I guess I'm not sure. I guess before I have no problem with doing it, okay? But I guess I want a little bit more, I want to be assured there's a little more organization to avoid any.
so if I can add, she did call this afternoon, Sophia did call this afternoon, and I gave her the police chief's number. I think Kevin was gonna email her, and she said she hadn't seen that yet, but she's got a lot of emails. So I gave her the chief's number,
Okay.
and he was willing to coordinate and do whatever was needed.
I guess we're all aware of it. So I'm sure it's probably going to be watched anyway. I just don't want any problems on the front or the back of this thing. That's all I'm saying. I have no problem with it. I would like some organization on the front of it and behind it. And I'm not saying, Sarah, you have to take care of that. That's not what I'm saying. I just wondered if you knew anything about it, so.
And I know in the past, we have had some of these that have had police escorts. Those have been ones that have come before the commission and gotten the same type of approval. So typically, you haven't stated whether they would or wouldn't, or is that usually at the request of the organizer, or how does that work in the past?
This morning in our meeting, the chief said he's offered it to them, and he hasn't heard back from whether what they need. He said he's offered them if they need something from the police department, it's there, but they've got to get in contact with him to say what they want. Mark's saying a different story. He thinks that this needed.
Well, when you're talking a parade, and especially I see the route they're going through stop signs, they're going through, and again, I don't have a problem with it. And if it's a peaceful protest, that's fine, that's what it is. It's kind of going against what I'm asking for is to have the police escort in the front and the back. I don't necessarily need some there. I need some presence because the route that they're taking, there's gonna be a break here and there, someplace, somewhere along the line, there's gonna be breaks in there. And if they're part of this parade and they don't think they have to do this break, I'm just trying to avoid anything there, that's all.
So your recommendation is to have the police have a front and a back in this deal?
Assuming they're not planning to follow the traffic laws, which in a parade route, typically you would ignore the
Right.
stop signs, et cetera, then probably you would need something to
Correct.
allow the other drivers on the road to know how to participate.
Correct.
Okay, we have information on our live feed. Go ahead, Jen.
I have Sophia on the chat, and she said, yes, it is. It will be in escort,
Oh,
is what she indicates.
okay, good.
Great.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Then my motion stands.
Okay. After the discussion, we're ready for a vote. Roll call, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Robish,
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Okay. Ordinance and resolutions, 10 and 10-1. I believe you're going to read that, Pauline?
Yep, I'll read it and then Nathan will give you guys the details.
Yeah, and Nate's going to give us the guts of it. Okay.
So this is an ordinance to amend Title III of Ordinance and Revision Number 850, commonly known as the Municipal Code of the City of Huron, South Dakota, pertaining to personnel regulations.
Okay, so this is the second reading of this. You've all looked over it and redone the sick leave that made it have a little bit more sense on the death benefit side. Again, just made it more in clear injunction with our, the union stuff that we abide by for the other employees, just to make it more consistent for us. The only thing that we changed from last time is we're gonna move it back to make it effective on May 15th, so that Phil McCaskill is still eligible, and anyone else from that period of time forward. We'll just move the effective date. If you want, I can read through some of it again, or if you are okay with what we did last time, just let me know. Any other questions?
I just want to note that the death benefit is effective.
The death benefit, yep, is effective May 15th. Any questions? Want me to read some of it?
We've got
We got Rich here, so.
Rich hanging out there.
I guess what we did, Rich, is we clarified that, how the vacation accrual works. And so employees with, 2,080 hours per week, which is a full-time employee, 2,080 hours a year, Group 1, from 0 to 6 years continuous service shall credit with 3.8 hours of vacation per pay period for an 80-hour pay period. And then Group 2 goes 4.6, 2 hours. Group 3 is at 6.16 hours. Group 4, which is 25 years or more service, it just goes up 7.7 hours. And then on the death benefit side of it, it goes through employees who maximum accumulate sick leave is 1,200 hours in the event the employee retires, is eligible for retirement allowance in South Dakota State Retirement System. Accrued unused sick leave, but not excess of 360 hours, shall be paid to the employee in the final payroll. The employee that has worked for the employer for at least 10 years, and provide also that the employer has 720 hours. Their maximum allowable accrual is still unused. Death benefit in the case of the death of employee, 480 hours shall be paid out to the employee in the final payroll, provided that the employee has worked for the employer for 10 years, and provided also that the employee has 720 of their maximum hours allowed still unused. That's the part that we changed to match. So those are the major changes. So
And I did get that in my packet.
in your packet.
I read through it.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to take a test on it, but I did look through it.
Me either, quite, yeah.
To the best of my experience.
Okay.
It looked good. All the red line items were
All right.
noted clearly, so
Sounds good.
thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Nate.
Mhm.
I need a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Commissioner Smith,
I will second.
second by Commissioner Bragg.
Mayor,
Any discussion?
thank you. We bounced around on the May 15th date for effectiveness. Is that just for the death benefit portion of this, or the,
Yes.
Yes.
okay, just so that's clear.
Just the death benefit portion.
All right, thank you.
Without any other discussion, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Goldish. Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Okay, now we're gonna go to department items. I should be able to figure out how this sounds sooner or later here. Department items, consider organization of city commission. And this is where my iPad is not working right now for that, but do you have a copy? Thank you. I was frustrated that it's not working. I knew this is all I needed of us. This information is on our website. It's been updated, adding Commissioner Bragg. I'll go through what each commissioner has been assigned. Brian Smith is going to be our Finance and Revenue Commissioner. He's also a department liaison for finance and golf. He also has Capital Asset Committee, Community Counseling, Employee Safety Committee, Golf Advisory Board, Huron Community Campus Board, Norby Center Board, Senior Center Board, and Tax Incentive Finance Project Review Committee. Rich Bragg will be our Public Works Commissioner. His departments will be engineering, library, and streets. Some of the boards and committees he's on is Alternate Board of Adjustment, Dakota Land Museum Board, Historic Preservation Board, Huron Housing and Redevelopment Board, James Valley Housing, Library Board, Local Emergency Planning Committee, Public Safety Committee, and Sidewalk Task Force. Doug Kloot will be our Utilities Commissioner again this year. His departments will be Park and Rec, Solid Waste, and wastewater and wastewater. Some of his liaisons will be Community Gardens Committee, Huron Examiner, Huron Get Fit Committee, Lake and Riverfront Development Committee, Park and Recreation Board, and Splash Central Marketing Committee. Mark Robish will be our Public Safety Commissioner. And his departments will be Building Inspections and Code Enforcement, Fire, and Police and Dispatch. Some of the committees that Mark will be serving will be Alternate Board of Adjustment, Butte County Humane Society, Community Improvement Committee, Downtown Beautification Committee, Green Energy Task Force, People's Transit Board, Public Safety Committee, Tax and Increment Finance Project Review Committee as an alternate. As the mayor, I will have, my departments will be airport, city attorney, HR manager, planning director, public boards, buildings, and streetlights. Some of my boards will be airport board, business improvement bid board, capital asset committee, chamber and visitors bureau board, civil service board, community development fund board, greater Huron development board, hospital board, planning commission, and tax increment finance project committee. As I stated, those are our assignments. We change them every other year. We rotate them around so that each commissioner can get a different feel of how our departments run. It works out well. And that's all I have on that. Any questions on that? I'll accept a motion to approve those commission reorganizations.
I would move to approve the reorganization.
Commissioner Bragg with a motion,
Second?
second by Commissioner Smith. Any discussions on that? No discussions? Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Robish,
I,
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Okay, item number 2, 11.2, announcement of tire disposable grant provided for the city of Huron and Beaver County residents. This is a grant that we get just about every year. It's some money from our state to help us clean up the tires in our community that are such a nuisance to us because they do a place for breeding of our mosquitoes and different rodents, and just a beautification a little bit of our town too. So this is an important grant that we apply for each year, and we've got it this year. I accept a motion for approval.
Move to approve the grant?
second.
Motion approved by Commissioner Smith and seconded by Commissioner Robish. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one thing to point out. This is for residents only. The businesses are excluded, and the county residents will pay the 20%. And in the past, what has happened, some of the businesses have been able to be included after the state sees what the numbers are. So it's not a for sure thing, but right now it's no businesses. And it's residents only, and the county residents are eligible, but they pay the 20%. So, okay?
Will somebody note that it starts June 2nd and goes till the end of the year?
Okay. Any other discussion? Thank you, Commissioner Robish, on that. That was good headlines on that. Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Robish, Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Okay, 11.3, consider opening the bathroom at Campbell Park for Thursday night in the park activities beginning June 11th, as outlined by the Campbell Park plan with park benches socially distanced, as recommended by Park and Recreation Department. We have Park Director LaRon Clark here tonight. You want to come up, Ron?
Thank you, Mayor Harrington and City Commissioners. Welcome, Mr. Bragg, too. Want to explain these one at a time as listed. And wanted to cover some of the things that Park and Rec Department will do, along with these volunteer organizations that have requested this. The first one, obviously, is something that was started with Roger Casa many years ago, and his daughter is carrying on the tradition of Thursday night park. She came up with the rules and the conditions to hopefully allow that to happen again this year. We will, as a department, space out the benches that are always there. We'll also disinfect them before use and after use. I guess with that in mind, we will also, ask for the bathroom to be open for that event and ask for it to continue to be open for use in the park.
Gonna need a motion to approve.
So Ron, you're saying even outside of the Thursday for that to be open, what's the regular schedule like in a non-COVID year? Is that open certain hours or all the time?
Are you saying numbers that attend?
Well, no, what, is it unlocked all the time? Is
It's
it-
unlocked all the time, yes.
And so your proposal would be not just for Thursdays, but all the time again to have it?
Yes. And the weekly count usually is 50 to 100 people.
I'm gonna need a motion, then we can have discussion. Need a motion to approve, please.
Move to approve opening the bathroom for Thursday night in the park.
Commissioner Smith's motion first. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robish. Now we can have discussion. Any more discussion?
So are we going to have someone there? Obviously, we can disinfect, clean them down, whatever beforehand. Are we gonna have someone there after it's over, or
Well,
are we gonna do
normally,
this on
that's,
Friday morning?
the next morning is when we will do
Okay.
that, regular staff.
Okay.
Traditionally, they're usually out of there by 8:30, 9 o'clock at latest.
Commissioner Smith?
We've had several of these requests in the last couple of weeks concerning highlighting restrooms throughout our parks and so on. So I guess I feel that this is kind of in sync with those other approvals that we've given. So I'm in a position to vote for it, but maybe just if we could monitor those bathrooms when there's heavy concentration of use a little closer, especially in this environment.
Are we placing any signage or any additional instructions just based on the situation?
We've placed COVID signage in every situation where we've opened things. And we'll do that in this case also. It's just a matter of whether we want to closely monitor that with staff that is there. And generally, the coordinator handles a lot of that, and then the next day, we'll do the sanitation.
Just for my reference, Ron, do we have other bathrooms open in our parks?
We have the 4 that were approved in phase 1.
Okay, name those.
Okay, that's Memorial Park. That's Central Park bathrooms that are connected to the bathhouse there, to the outside. That's the other 2, I'm gonna have to go back and look. But,
Prospect open?
they've been open from the very beginning. That was
Prospect.
approved in phase 1.
Was-
I believe
Prospect?
Prospect was one.
Prospect is not open
Yeah.
yet.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussions about this? Okay.
Do you want us to check back with you for every bathroom in the future, I guess is, under the conditions, is probably a good situation, so,
Okay. Yep, we would.
okay.
Roll call vote on this, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Gregg,
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Okay. Consider opening baseball games as sponsored through Huron Little League at Memorial and Clock Fields for seniors and Legion teams as scheduled with the provided to return to play plan and COVID-19 exposure guideline as recommended by the Park and Recreation Board. Do we have somebody on Zoom on this one?
We have, I believe, Chuck DeJean and our recreation specialist, Nicole Wentz,
Okay.
available to speak to this. Basically, they've had a schedule for a long time, and I think you all know from the original stance of the Little League Board that they were going to try to keep this door open to the 13 to 18-year-olds. And with what's happened in other cities, they're ready to ask for those two teams to have seasons, partial seasons. And that'd be the 13 and 14-year-olds in the Legion. So if you have specific questions, I believe they could answer those.
Okay, let me get a motion to approve, and then we'll have a discussion. Okay. I do need a motion to approve.
I move to approve pending discussion.
Commissioner Bragg, thank you.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. Okay, now we can have a discussion. Yes, Commissioner Robish.
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. Not that baseball, I'm gonna ask a question about last Wednesday night. I did not, I don't know, did you happen to go out to Coonhart on Wednesday night?
No.
The first, okay. Is there spectators for our slow pitch, for our softball? And I'm leading into baseball, that's why I'm going.
There were only family members there of the umpires. I was out there myself, and very, very few spectators that first night.
Okay, so leading into this baseball then, maybe Chuck can answer this more as far as other cities. What are they doing for spectators? And I haven't seen their rules, not that I have to see their rules, that's not what I'm saying. I wanted to know how Wednesday night went, and then I wanted to know if other cities are allowing spectators or just family members. Obviously, you have to have some family members if you go 13-year-olds. So, I guess, I don't know, Chuck, can you hear us, or?
Yep, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
As far as other towns are concerned, they are allowing fans. They are recommending to sit away from the bleachers as much as possible, keep your social distancing. They're also kind of recommending, Huron go to the left, other town go to the right, try and stay away. I know other towns are considering concession stands, but that's not something we are looking at doing at all at this point. We're just, and like no water coolers for the kids. Everything's got to be brought, from home, be your own, no sharing. As far as the keeping things clean, I guess the bathrooms will have to work with the city as far as cleaning those before and after. But as far as fans, we will have board members there. I mean, that'll be something we'll monitor as far as, congregating in groups, but, families sit together, obviously, but otherwise, keep that social distancing. There's enough room at ballparks to sit away from anybody if that's what you want.
Thank you, Chuck. So how did you think Wednesday night went with the adults?
Well, the adults, basically it ended up being an organization night for a lot of the teams because, it was just approved on Monday night, and on Wednesday night it was more of a see how you're doing with your team and who's comfortable in playing and who isn't. And this coming Wednesday night will probably be the first true test. of how the league's gonna go. But, I'm confident they'll have at least those 7 teams.
So how does that translate to this? Do you believe most of the, if we approve this, do you feel most of the players will be willing to play and will have full teams?
Well, any indication has been that they'll definitely have a 13 to 14-year-old team and a Legion team. Now that junior Legion team, as I understand it, won't play this year.
Do they play offsetting schedules so that they're not playing on the same diamond at the same time?
The 13 to 14-year-olds will play on Clock Field, and normally the Legion plays on Memorial Field.
Okay.
So we'll be able to separate that. Normally it's not the same nights, so that should work with those kind of numbers pretty well.
Well, the one thing when we addressed the softball questions last week, they had a pretty defined method of how they're planning to play, and I know that that's part of that phase 1 is attached in the packet here. Unfortunately, my copy is a little distorted, so I'm having a difficult time reading it, but are they following pretty much the same guidelines?
Yeah, they have a phase 1 and a phase 2 and the Huron baseball return to play plan.
And then maybe just one more question, if I may.
Yes.
Directed maybe a little bit more towards Chuck DeGene on, do you have strong parental support to continue this? Or to have this on this year?
Yeah, there's a large group that want to play baseball. I mean, they're seeing teams play. There's games. I mean, Aberdeen had a game at the end of last week for their 13s at this point. Yeah, the kids are looking for something productive to do. They're looking to get out and, I mean, to still see their friends. I mean, they can keep their social distancing as best they can, but they still need to have some peer interaction that's, kind of still monitored and getting them in the right direction. But yeah, I think there's a strong parent support for this.
Well, I think one thought of support on that is, if this is approved, at least it's under a supervision concept rather, and nothing against it. It's great to have a bunch of kids get together for a pickup game on a Sunday afternoon somewhere, somewhat unsupervised, but at least knowing the standards that are in place here and that they're to be followed and supervised to be followed, I'd be more in favor of that than to help with the social interaction at a time when we're trying to disinteract social interaction. But what I'm getting at is it would at least be under a supervised environment rather than kids getting together, so to speak, and having a pickup game.
One more question, if I could. Another potential difference between adult slow pitch softball is often, not to say never, but often they don't practice. I would assume this type of ball will have a more regular practice schedule. Is that factored into our schedule for the fields and all that? They kind of said what their practice schedule would be?
They coordinate their schedule with us. And obviously, they have a game schedule ready to go. It's just a matter of other towns are waiting on Huron to say whether they're going to play.
And you feel comfortable that we can, to Commissioner Smith's question, that we can coordinate the fields to keep people there at different times with the practice, just the same as we can with the games?
I believe that's not an issue, especially with just 2 teams.
Thank you.
Further discussion?
Can I just say something quick?
Sure.
Sorry, this is
Nicole,
Nicole.
why don't you
Sorry.
say something?
I just want to clarify, there's actually 3 teams. There's a 13U and a 14, and then the Legion, just so we clarify that. But in each age group has a rep that will be in charge of those age groups and will be there each game and such. So I just want to clarify all that so that that wasn't a question there. So
All
and we
right.
have a lot of parents that are involved. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, we'll have a roll call.
One other question.
Oh, sure, go
I'd
ahead.
ask.
I'm sorry.
When we approve this, they have 2 different phases, Mayor. Phase 1, Phase 2. Are we approving both phases, or do they have to represent on Phase 2 if they want to go in that direction?
This is actually part of phase 2.
Yeah.
When we originally put it together was to look at the games as a possibility.
So we're approving Phase 1 and 2
At the same
in
time.
this motion. Okay.
And excuse me, I didn't realize the 13 and 14-year-olds were separated. I'm sorry.
So is 13U going to involve kids, obviously, as it states, 13 and under?
Nicole, can you comment on that one?
What's that? I'm sorry.
13-year-olds are 13 and under for
Just,
those
there's
that are.
just 13s. Just 13.
Okay.
Yep. 14s are just 14s. Yep.
No further discussion on that? Have a roll call vote on it, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Robish, Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Okay, that passes. Now we're going to go to consider Huron Tennis League Adult and Advanced Player Plan and to have league tennis as proposed at Winter Park Courts from 6:30 to 10:30 beginning June 10th, 2020 as recommended by the Park and Recreation Department.
Winter Park is one of those bathrooms that are open too.
Okay, good.
And with the baseball situation, it's only logical that we ask to open the bathrooms at Memorial and Clockville. And I guess we will have Sarah talk to her program here.
Sure, come up.
Sarah Robish, come on up. Sarah Rubish, I'm sorry. I'm going to get this Rubish thing.
We get confused a lot.
Yeah.
People around how
I
confused
do.
the two are. Hi,
Sarah.
all of you. Do you have questions for me, specific questions, or anything I can explain for you?
So we'll make a motion to approve, and then we'll have a discussion. Motion to approve, please.
I would move to approve.
Okay, Commissioner Robish approves. Second. Second, Commissioner Bragg. Okay, now we're open to discussion. Anybody would like to have discussion with Sarah?
I would.
Commissioner Robish?
Thank you. Do you have a number in mind here, Sarah, already, or are you?
Well, this is the league that's been going on for a number of years. Mike Carnegie ran it for a very long time and then took a well-deserved retirement last year. So last year was the first year without him, and we had smaller numbers just because it's not quite as, he's not doing as much organizing as he did. We probably have between 10 and maybe 16 regular players, but it rotates depending on the week. There are several adults that are confirmed to play, but for example, one of them can only come certain nights if he's not in the field. There's one who is a pastor who will come after he finishes his Bible study that evening. So at any time, there are probably maybe 8 to 12 there, and that's on a pretty regular basis.
Further discussion?
It would appear that most things are following, I assume it's through the Tennis Association, National Tennis Association guidelines.
Yep, it took them from what the high school was doing for the high school students' workouts this summer, and then from the USTA, the US Tennis Association as well.
So do we have an agreement with the tennis thing?
Well, and Sarah, you can speak to this, the local tennis association has pretty much been disbanded for probably 3 or 4 years now.
There's a checkbook that Mike, we run a junior league generally in the summers, and we charge a small fee for that, and then we put the money into the Huron Tennis Association. He still has the checkbook, and we do a few things through it, but there's not really much action with it, yeah.
So with that, we're working on agreements with our different associations on the insurance coverage for the general liability for the property and.
Oh, of course, yep. I do have the waiver from the USTA waiver that they recommend leagues sign. I don't know that we've done that in the past, but I spoke to Mike Knigge and he spoke to Chad Hansen from Mitchell. He's run the Mitchell League for years. They do a waiver every year, so obviously we'll have them do that. And then I talked to LeBron earlier today and looked into the USTA liability and accident insurance. And with our HTA, I just re-upped it today. So we can get full liability and accident insurance. I don't know, I can leave this with you guys, or if you want me to show it to you or read it to you.
Sure we get the copy of the
Oh,
coverage.
sure.
before you start.
Okay, yep, we can do that. I had a call into the edit today, so.
Very good, very good.
So is that something you're saying, Colin, we should have in place before we start anything, or?
Yes, we should.
So if we vote on something tonight, would it be conditional then on?
Conditional that the insurance will be covered, yep.
Any other discussion for Sarah? Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye.
And I'll send the insurance to you, Colin, as soon as I get it. Okay.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Mom,
it.
very
You
much.
bet. Thanks for your patience. Okay, last one on our list. Consider phase 3 on schedule as the state of South Dakota, USA will allow officers to plan for a state scheduled tournaments in Huron to include state men's tournament August 1 and 2, state co-ed softball tournament on September 12th and 13th as recommended by the Park and Recreation Department. I need a motion to approve, and we'll have some discussion.
Move to approve this tournament schedule.
Motion by Commissioner Robish. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. Now it's open for discussion. Any discussion?
Gary, I'm sure you're well aware of how things work with the State Softball Association.
Yes.
We did have, as you know, a youth tournament scheduled for the end of July. And that, the person that's responsible for that group or that tournament has moved that tournament to Watertown, with the idea that we could have that tournament in the future back. But with the current situation, we don't have a youth league for softball right now. And they do have a league started in Watertown for youth. So I think that was the main two reasons that they moved that to Watertown as of June 5th.
Okay.
So the reason I have that on there is how the commission might feel in the next week or two about continuing to look at that schedule for August 1st and 2nd and for the co-ed tournament in September.
So around, these are dates that we've already bid and we have received, we're just finding out if we can move forward. Now,
Yes.
if we approve to go forward with these dates, that doesn't necessarily mean it will happen depending on the organizers, is that correct?
That is correct. And Gary, I don't know if there's really a history on how these things work, because obviously they've never dealt with this either.
Yeah, I think the pandemic has really thrown it all up in the air. Normally, in a situation, the softball is finalized at the end of January each year, where all the tournament's going to be, and it's set in concrete, really, and it's done. But this year, with the pandemic, it's all up in the air so much. You know, I'm sure that that's exactly what they're looking at. They may not even have these tournaments. That's what they're looking at too. I'm sure of that. I haven't had any discussions with any of them lately, but I know that's a concern. They have started all their leagues in all the big cities, Sioux Falls, Rapid, everybody's getting their leagues started here and everybody. So that's a good sign. And normally when that happens, they'll want a state tournament after. So I think it looks pretty good for us to have these here. So I'm encouraged by that at least. Any
So-
other discussion? No discussion? With that, we entertain a roll call vote on this.
Smith,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Robish,
Aye.
Mayor Herron.
Aye. Pass. Thanks, Ron,
Thank you.
for your work. Appreciate it.
Appreciate the time.
With that, we got through our first city meeting. We'll get the bugs worked out, get my computer to work a little bit better, maybe get a different one, and we'll go from there. So we're done.
Thank you.